Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible, guys. If you can comment down yes, no, maybe in the chat box if I'm audible, guys. All right, perfect, perfect. So, good evening and welcome everyone to the fifth and final day of our 5 day data science bootcamp. My name is Dhananjay, your host, and I'm sure you would have found the last 4 days of bootcamp informative and engaging, and you would have also learned something valuable from that, right? Today we have a special guest with us. He's not only the speaker, he's a coding enthusiast and has worked with big wigs like Amazon and Facebook in the past. He holds a bachelor degree in computer science from India's most premier institute, IIT Delhi, and a master degrees in computer science from Stanford University. Right. So please welcome Ankush Singla, co-founder at Coding Ninjas. Guys, hi Ankush
Hi
sir.
everyone. Hi. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Really happy to be here and really looking forward to talk to everyone and quickly discuss like what all doubts they have, what they want to know about data science and their career in data science, right? Like what all needs to be done to sort of do well in career data science career. So would love to sort of have a discussion on that. Yeah. So thank you so much, and I'll take it over from here. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sure, sure. Yeah.
Perfect. So, guys, first of all, I would like to keep it completely Q&A based. So, would love to answer all your questions. So, just keep shooting your questions at me, and I'll like try to take as many questions as possible. Right. I've been doing a session after a long time, so I'm really happy to be sort of with you all of you, and really hoping to sort of answer as many questions as possible. Right. So let's quickly start. So, right. So I think like one thing that I wanted to sort of start with while I sort of get questions from all of you as well. So one thing that I would like to start with is why are data scientists in high demand, right? Like why is it that we have so many uh, jobs for data science, as well as why is it that the salaries are pretty high as well? Right. So I think like one thing that all of you need to understand is it's very simple, right? Like when there are more jobs and there are less qualified people, it automatically means that they will have higher salaries. It's plain demand and supply. The reality is that there is a lot of demand for data scientists, but we don't have as many high quality data scientists who are available to take up those jobs. Automatically, the salaries become higher, right? So I think that's one thing. Overall, the salary range, I would say generally a salary range for any sort of role is very subjective. You will find people making money starting at like 7 8 lpa to going up to 35 40 lpa even as a fresher, right? Like these are sort of salary range that you will find people at, right? And the reason is very simple. Like it's based upon what sort of skills you have, how well you are sort of prepared to do it, and also like how good you are in the concepts and how much work you have done in it, right? Data science basically requires you to work with projects. You should have done good projects while you're prepping for applying for interviews. I think that's the most important factor that companies tend to sort of look at when they are hiring data scientists. As in like what sort of quality of projects you have, right? Like so you should make sure that you have high quality projects, make sure that you don't just know these projects, uh, like you don't just do those projects for the sake of doing it, you actually go in depth, right? If you're doing something, then you should know why did you decide to use a particular algorithm, why didn't you use other algorithms, why didn't other algorithms work well, how much, what sort of parameters you try to tune, right? Like what happened, why it happened that way. So whatever project you do, you need to make sure that you're not just doing it on surface, you are actually going in depth, right? That's extremely important. I think like any person you would ask who's doing well in data science, you will find that even if you don't do multiple projects, even if you do just one project, it's very important that you go in depth within that project. One thing that I would highly recommend, make sure you have an amazing GitHub profile, right? Make sure that you are really good in documentation, in the sense that, as I said, right, like A lot of times when you are sort of in the interview, you can explain what you did, how you did it, but on your GitHub also you need to try and put all of these things there, right? So for example, if you're building a project, from the starting you need to try and do documentation in terms of, I tried this, these are the results, I believe this is the reason I got these results, I tried this is performing a little better, I think these are the reasons this is performing better, I tried to do some tuning on the parameters, these are the parameters that led to the best results, I believe this is the reason that this is why I got to these results, then I didn't try ABC because I believe this, right? So I think this sort of a readme, this sort of documentation, if you start preparing, it'll do 2-3 things for you. First of all, as soon as you start doing this, you will start asking the right sort of questions for yourself, right? You will ask the right sort of questions to yourself. As soon as you're asking these right questions, you will be forced to actually work on your concepts, work on finding those answers. That will give you a lot of learning. And when you're writing all of this in your GitHub, it becomes very, very impressive. Honestly, it becomes very, very impressive for any recruiter to look at, for any company to look at. There's going to be an absolutely amazing data, absolutely amazing showcase. And I'm telling you, like, these are things that you can do, which majority of the people just don't do it. And if you do it, you will be at the front of the line, like just by taking care of something as simple as this, right? So what I'm saying is build projects, high quality projects, go in depth on those projects, ask a lot of questions to yourself, why this algorithm is working, why this is not working, why this data is behaving like this, why don't I, sort of like just keep asking whys to yourself, keep finding answers to those whys, and don't just stop at sort of finding those answers. Make sure you document all those answers and all those questions as well. That's going to be an amazing introduction to your sort of project that you have built, right? So I think overall, this is the most important part of how to showcase your skills, how companies will look at your skills, how companies would value whatever you write in your resume, right? That's okay, that's perfect. But I think like these are the things that really make it a difference in terms of you being able to really like stand apart from all the data scientists, aspiring data scientists out there, right? This is really going to set you apart. Okay. Now, I think one thing that I do want to talk about is when you are looking to build a career in data, right? I think there are 3 different directions that people take. There are 3 different type of job roles that people take. One role is data scientist. One role is machine learning engineer. Third role is data analyst, right? These are 3 different directions. There are lots and lots of jobs for data analyst. I think that's going to be one area which will have the maximum number of jobs out there compared to any the other two, right? Just, so I think that is one area which has maximum number of jobs, and I think relatively it is far easier to get into data analyst and can be a good sort of gateway into becoming a machine learning engineer, becoming a data scientist as well, right? So for example, at Coding Ninjas, we do have, I think, 4 or 5 people working as data analysts. We don't have a data scientist as of now, but whenever we feel like we need to use some machine learning algorithms or we need to use some work on some data science problems, these are the people who tend to sort of get the first opportunity to do that, right? So I think like just want to tell all of you that if you think that you want to be a data scientist and if you feel that it's going to be really hard to get to, I think one very good first step could be becoming a data analyst. And in itself, I think data analyst itself is a really, really interesting field to be in. What a data analyst has to do is basically look at data, analyze the data, find the right sort of insights, and give those insights to the business decision makers. Generally, people use this to do 2 things. Either they use that to improve revenues, improve profits, they will focus on these things, or they will use these things to sort of uh, they will use these things to improve user experience, right? Generally, either you will improve user experience or you will basically increase revenues or increase profits. So data analyst has to fetch all that data. So they need to be good at SQL. They need to be good at generally getting data they need to be, so I'm talking about which skills are required to be data analyst, which is asked by Prerna right now. So as a data analyst, you need to be able to fetch data, you need to be able to analyze data, and then you need to be able to find the right sort of insights. For example, let me talk about one sort of data analyst project. I think that will give you a very clear idea that I recently sort of worked upon, right? Like one idea that we wanted to work upon is, so we have a program which is basically a career camp program, which is basically around where we offer a pay after placement sort of an opportunity, right? Like we call it career camp for freshers. Now, there we had a problem that a lot of people who enroll for the program don't do that well in the program. So we take a test before the program. Now, that test has aptitude problems, that has coding problems, and a bunch of other things. Okay, my voice is glitching. Can everybody else sort of hear me well? Can you guys confirm if there is something wrong with my internet? Guys, can you confirm if this is working? Okay, so I'll just continue. If it's creating problem, please do let me know. So I was just saying that as a data analyst, what do you have to do? So just want to walk it through by giving an example of a project, right? So for example, one project that we recently worked upon is that how do we figure out somebody is going to do well in the program, right? By looking at what all data we can look at to figure out that they will do well, right? So now, if this is a data analyst problem, what will a data analyst do about this, right? So what they want to see is that after joining the program, this person is doing well. They are spending time on the program. They are spending time on the program. They are able to complete the program. They are able to make progress. They are able to understand things, right? This is the final output that we want. Now, what they will do is they will go out and figure out, okay, everybody gave a test, what sort of scores they got, did they get scores on, what were their scores in coding tests, what were their score in aptitude test, within the aptitude test, what are the different type of problems, how did people perform basis different sort of problems. Then they will potentially look at other data, like which year did they graduate in, they will look at which college they are from, which branch they are from, they will look at have they done any sort of other work on Coding Ninja's platform, right? They will look at all these sort of data. And then the first part of the problem is figuring out what type of data will potentially give me answer to that this person eventually will perform well, right? So these are just examples of what I told you. There can be 10 other things that you can find basis what sort of data is available to you to figure out if any of this has a strong correlation with eventual good performance of the user in the course, right? So then what they did is they fetched all this sort of data and then saw, does any of this data have a strong correlation with the final performance? For example, does very high score in coding test means that they will perform really well? Does spending less time in the test or high time in the test leads to a correlation in they performing well in the course? Does their score in aptitude does well in terms of correlates with did they do they do well in the program or not? Is there a correlation of if they are from a CSC branch or they are from some other branch, does that have a correlation with they performing well in the program or not? Is their graduation year has something to do? Are they working somewhere? Does that has something to do with they eventually doing well in the program? So I think this is one typical sort of a data analyst sort of a problem, that they get one problem statement. Now they need to think of what sort of data will help me sort of get to this answer. Now they need to go out, fetch all of that data, look at that data, do an analysis of that data, that for me to find the answer, how do I find that answer using this data, right? I think that's a typical sort of a data analyst problem project that potentially data analysts work on. This is, to me, a very, very interesting projects, interesting problems that people have to work upon. And the good part is, as they work on this, their intuition with data becomes very strong. They are able to understand data correlation, right? Like they are able to understand all these concepts really well, which becomes like a good sort of gateway into a data science sort of a profile if they want to get to. Now, what is a data science profile? Data science profile is in step just ahead of what I explained for a data analyst, right? A data scientist will not just look at past data to find insights. They will look at past data, but along with that, they will be able to build machine learning models on top of that data, so that in future we are able to do predictions. Right now, what will happen is a data analyst will look at all of this data and say, seems like college has some correlation, seems like their score in coding has some correlation, their test score, aptitude test score has some correlation, branch ke saath to nahi hai correlation. So like they'll come up with some insights like this. What a data scientist would say, okay, let me put all of this information into a machine learning model and let the machine learning model predict whether this person will do well in the program or not. So why should I just tell myself in terms of what will happen, what will not happen? I think it's still important for a data scientist to be able to understand these correlations and figure out what is working, what is not working, to figure out what features should be given to the machine learning model and not. Right? So I think these are the sort of project generally a data analyst would do, and like data scientists will be able to take it one step ahead. So what I'm trying to tell you, a data scientist still has to do most of the work that a data analyst is able to do. So these are very, very important skill sets that you learn. And on top of that, if you are able to use machine learning to basically not just look at past data, but even for future data, if you are able to do those predictions, I think that's where things get a little more exciting as well. A machine learning engineer, on the other hand, is generally somebody who is able to use these models to being able to use on those live environments, being able to deploy on the live environment side. All of that becomes very important as well. But I think I see a lot more jobs in data science and data analyst compared to a pure play machine learning engineer. So I think just wanted to sort of give, I hope this was clear. If you have any questions from what I just explained, please do let me know so that I'm able to answer any follow-up questions that you might have. I hope this example was helpful. If not, please do ask questions so that I'm able to clarify things. Okay. So, see, I think in terms of now, I just want to quickly talk about should you consider to be a data scientist or be a generic software developer, right? I would say these are very person to person specific sort of things in terms of what you like, what is exciting for you. If you like, I think if I tell you the major differences, right? A software developer would generally what they would do. For example, if they have to build a website, they will think of the use cases, they will think of how the architecture should look like, they will build the backend, they'll build the front end. It's a lot of doing, right? Like you have to do a lot of work. You are constantly building. Whereas a data scientist, comparatively, I would say a lot more time goes into thinking, a lot more time goes into research, a lot of time goes into figuring out understanding the problem, understanding the use case, understanding what sort of data is available to us, what sort of data might be important, right? It's a lot of work in terms of thinking rather than doing a lot of it, right? So I think if you generally enjoy math very like math a lot, I think that's really something that helps in data science, because you have to think of data, think of numbers, you have to look at correlations, you have to be like very sharp in terms of aptitude as well, to quickly sort of figure out things in terms of how different data is sort of behaving with respect to each other. Okay, let me quickly take 2 or 3 questions. How much data we generally appointed for analysis by how much data? There is no limit to data, right? Like if the more you have it, better it is. Like you will choose what is good, what is like eventually not all of the data will be useful, but you will be able to figure out what data is useful, what you want to use. So now a couple of questions around. I'm in mechanical engineer, I'm doing BSc, I'm doing something else. Can I do data science? Is this good for fresher or not? Guys, see, there are 2 things. First thing that I tell everybody is that please get good in programming first, right? If you want to be in IT, even if you want to be in data science, I think basic programming we should really focus on and make sure that we are good at that. In general, what my recommendation is, get good in introduction to programming, get good in DSA, data structure algorithms. That will really set you up for success. In terms of you will understand things well, as a data scientist as well, if you are able to write code, it will always help you, right? You'll be able to do things better, faster. I think that's really going to help you. So that's something that you should focus on. That's something that you should take care of. Now, in terms of that, when that is taken care of, I think anybody can take up data science jobs. As I said earlier, it might be easier for you to first get into data analysis, get into a data analyst job. That might be an easier path than directly getting a data science job. You can still do it, but I'm telling you, if you are in final year and you have 3 months, 4 months, it will be very, very hard to get a data science job. You will have to do the hard work of building you will have to do the hard work of building projects, building the projects the right way, as I explained you, building the projects right way, making sure that you have a good GitHub profile, making sure that you make those documentation, make those readme with your project, so that you are able to make a good impression to anybody looking at your GitHub profile, right? Like that, these are things that is really going to help. Okay. So, I'm in second year, I want to become ML engineer. Is it good for me? Absolutely. I think like if you are in second year, you have a lot of time to actually get good in programming, then basically get good in ML, then work on few good projects. All of that's going to really help you. Somebody's asking what is the major difference between data science and data analyst. I just explained that. I hope it became clear post my explanation. As I said, like as I gave an example of a project, right? And then I gave an example of how data analyst would look at it, how a data scientist would look at it. I hope that was useful. And if you have any further follow-on questions on that, I'll be happy to answer. What is my opinion on AI replacing the development jobs in future? See, I think what might happen is the type of jobs will change, right? Like finally, this AI that we all are talking about is not at a place where it can replace anybody, right? Then potentially it will start writing some basic level of coding, like basic type of codes, right? People, developers like us, might become more effective because we might not have to write all type of code by ourselves. We might be able to ask it to sort of give us some snippets of code which takes care of some small sort of use cases which we can use ourselves. But I think the type of jobs will keep changing potentially, but I don't see it replacing development jobs anytime soon, right? Which language benefits as a data engineer? Generally, I think a data scientist, a data analyst, knowing Python is helpful because Python has a lot of libraries which will make it easy for you to work through data. And I think that's a language that a lot of people know in the industry as well. So it's helpful. A lot of people pick up R as well, but I think from an industry point of view, Python is a better language to pick up. So a bunch of questions around what will be the average of CTC after completing a data science course. As I said, right, it's a huge range. So average is not the right number to, if you are a good data scientist, you will be able to figure out that average is not a good sort of number to look at when you are looking at salaries. The reason is there are going to be people who are going to make 6-7 lakh. There are going to be people who are going to make 25-30 lakh. So there is no reason for us to look at average. In general, my recommendation is to really do well in projects, and I think like you will be able to go towards the higher numbers in terms of salary as well. Now, one problem with data science that I keep hearing from people is that our freshers के लिए job ही नहीं है, there are no jobs for freshers. I think you guys need to realize why is that the case. Because you guys wake up in 4th year, you guys realize data scientist बनने आज तो, है ना? Final year में जाके like you figure out that this is now I want to become a data scientist. You don't have enough time, right? You don't have enough time to become a data scientist in 6 months. It takes effort. You need to get good in basic programming, then you need to get good in machine learning, then you need to build some projects, you need to ask the right sort of questions, you need to build great projects, right? All of this takes a lot of time. If you're going to start in first, second year, perfect. You have enough time to do well. But if you want to start in 4th year, this is going to be very, very hard for you. But you can definitely become a data analyst, and that could be a good path towards becoming a data scientist. Now, you will have to be careful in what sort of companies you're going to. For example, at Coding Ninjas, I think that's perfect sort of path to start taking up data scientist sort of a projects. If you become a data analyst, you do well in that, you will quickly sort of keep getting more and more exciting projects, and you will do well. So I think like overall startups might be a good place for you to be if that's the path you want to take. Utkarsh, you can definitely do DSA in 2 months if you don't have anything else to do, right? Like if you're not, if you're going to go to colleges, like if you're going to go to college, attend the classes, prepare for exams, I think 2 months is not going to cut it. But if you, let's say you do it in summer vacation, 2 months I think are generally good enough for you to do well in DSA. Does aptitude matter in acquiring a job? So see, a lot of companies do ask aptitude, and honestly I think if you want to be in data science, data analyst, aptitude actually helps. I think there is a strong correlation to high aptitude to being able to be good with numbers, to be a good data analyst or a good data scientist. So I think it does help in getting a job. It also does help in terms of being good at your job as well. So this is something that I will definitely recommend. Does coding ninjas bring Mang companies after completing their courses, because off campus is very hard to get shortlisted? क्यों जाना है Mang में? अब तो now तो they don't even have job security. Then why do you want to go to Mang? Why is that something that we are still stuck with? Let's not get stuck with 4, 5, 6 companies. That's not the right way to look at your career. Your career is so many years. Your career can be built at so many companies. Why do you want to get stuck at these 6 companies? Right? If you will join a startup, I'm telling you, you will learn so much more that eventually you will earn so much more. So even if you don't want to join a startup, please join like a mid-sized company where you get more opportunities and you are able to learn a lot more. That being said, I think overall, if you are good, you will be able to crack all these sort of companies. Please don't worry about that. So somebody is asking software development or data scientist, analyst, which has more scope in terms of salary, scope, hiring. देखो यार, मैं ना, one thing that I want all of you to know, good engineers make a lot of money, good CAs make a lot of money, good doctors make a lot of money. Average CAs don't make a lot of money, average doctors don't make a lot of money, average engineers don't make a lot of money. Right? This is true everywhere in life. If you are going to be average software developer, you will not make a lot of money. If you're going to be average data analyst, you will not make a lot of money. If you're going to be a great data scientist, good data analyst, good software developer, you will make a lot of money. Right? Now, what does this mean? What I'm trying to tell you, for you to be good at something, you need to enjoy it. You need to actually like that. So please pick software development, web development, data analyst, data scientist. Pick what you want to do basis what do you think you would enjoy more. What would you actually like more? And I'm telling you, this might sound too good to be true, but if you actually like something, you tend to become better at it because it feels less like work. It feels more like fun. And we tend to be able to do a lot more. We are able to spend a lot more time to something which is fun compared to something that feels like work. Right? So please pick up something that you feel you will enjoy, give it a shot. And if you don't enjoy it, pick something else. But eventually, the better you get at it, the more money you will make. Please do that. Regarding somebody's asking about they are from a non-IT background, somebody was saying they are from a BSc background, somebody was saying they are about to grad, they are a mechanical engineer. Guys, I am again telling you, all these are excuses that you need to stop telling yourself. If you become good in data analysts, if you become good in data science, you will get all these opportunities and you will be able to get a job here. एक ही job चाहिए ना, you just need one job. You don't need hundreds of jobs. You will get that one opportunity if you become good at it, right? Please become good at it. Showcase your skills. How will you showcase? You can showcase it by building projects, by putting them on GitHub, by if you do like build a great project, right? Like just post it on LinkedIn as well. Reach out to people. Slowly and steadily you will get there. It might be a struggle to get your first job, but once you get it, then it will be a absolutely level playing field. Okay. So we'd like to quickly sort of again talk about if you want to get a data science job, what all you need to do, right? First of all, my recommendation, get good in programming. That's the first thing. Get good in machine learning, get good in building projects. Build 2 3 projects, don't build 10 projects, but be really good in those 2 3 projects. Go deep into them, right? Go go ask yourself a lot of questions, right? If you're working on a project, ask yourself why as many times as possible, right? Ask yourself, if this is the project that you want to work on, then what sort of data will help you in your decision making. Once you, these are hypotheses, right? You have made some hypothesis that this data might help me in this project. For example, taking again the project that I just took recently, that you want to, let's say you are given a project that uh, can you tell me whether somebody would perform well in a test in our career camp program, basis whatever data we have on them, right? Now the first thing you need to, I'll give you this statement, right? Now you need to start thinking about, this is your problem to solve, so you need to start thinking about what sort of data will help me get this answer, whether somebody will do well in the program or not, right? My first question will be what all data do we have on them? Do we have a test? Did we take a test? If the answer is yes, we did take a test, then your question will be, let's take the test scores. Right? That's the first obvious thing that you will do. Now what you will say is, okay, test score overall I have seen, but is there bifurcation in the test? Are there coding problems, aptitude problems? Can I look at them differently and see that maybe aptitude does not matter in the final performance, coding does. Maybe coding does not, maybe aptitude does. So I might want to look at them separately. Then I might want to look at aptitude. Within aptitude, are there like 3 4 different topics? Is there one of those topics that correlate more? So I'll start looking at that data, right? Similarly, I'll start asking, kya aisa hai kya? Like, is this possible that we have people from certain colleges who do well, certain colleges don't do well? Is it possible that people from certain year do well, certain year does not do well? So we'll start looking at this type of data. So as a data scientist, as a data analyst, you need to ask these questions. For each of these questions, these are a hypothesis. Once you have those hypotheses, you fetch the data, you need to test your hypothesis. Is this actually correlating or not? Correlation का मतलब क्या है? Correlation just means if somebody has higher score, there is a higher chance that they will actually do well in the course. If somebody has lower score, there is a lower chance that they will do well in the course. If that is true, that means test score has a correlation with their eventual performance. Okay, so once you do all this analysis, now you need to think of what algorithms I can use. One obvious algorithm is that I'll just use linear regression, like the basic algorithm, to figure out if I'm able to get an answer, if I'm able to get a good score, if I'm able to do good predictions. Now you need to ask yourself that, hey, I am taking this is giving me this sort of result. What are the problems? Why is it not giving me better results? What are different parameters within this algorithm that I can tune, I can change, and figure out which one does well? These are all the things that ideally you should use Jupyter Notebook to basically do this. Do the documentation along with that. Whenever you're getting in some sort of graph, some sort of analysis, just write there itself, what is your understanding from this graph, from this sort of experiment that you just run, like what is it that you understand from that, right? And make a very clear documentation of that, and then move to the next thing, right? So you need to keep doing, when you're building a project, this is generally the flow of building the project. Problem statement, what sort of data might be useful, what sort of data is available to you, and you keep going ahead, right? And you keep going ahead, look at that data, find the correlation with your final the outcome as well, and then work on different models, look at different models, keep looking at more and more data as well. Something else might help, right? So these are the things that you need to continuously work on. Guys, I'm going to tell all of you one thing, that so somebody is asking about gap might reflect, right? देखो यार सब चीजों से फर्क पड़ता है, everything impacts. gap impacts, your college impacts, your degree impacts. All of these things will impact whether you can get a job or not. But the most important thing that will impact is, are you good at it? If you are good at it, you can overcome all these problems, right? So please get to a place where you are confident about your skill set. Once you get there, I'm telling you, you will get the job. While all of you keep worrying about these things, one thing that you don't do is work on your skills. Please work on your skills. That is going to be the most important thing for you to sort of take care of, right? So please do that. I think that's what's going to have the maximum sort of impact in your learning, in your chances of getting a job, right? So please do that. That's going to be the most important part. Okay. What type of math and how much math is needed in data science, software development, or in web dev app or game dev? See, in general, I would say that one thing is math, one thing is generally being good with numbers, generally being good with aptitude in terms of quickly being able to think of, hey, this is moving this way, that is moving something else, what does this mean, right? Like being able to generally take these decisions is very, very helpful, specifically in data science and data analysis, right? Not so much in web dev, app dev, but there also you need to be able to, like, you need to be sharp enough to sort of think of the right architecture, what might go wrong, what might not go wrong. But that's not exactly math. That's more of being able to, like, with experience, you keep getting better at it, right? So math for data science, I think not in itself math, but basic few concepts of uh, your statistics are important, but overall, I think those are not very, very hard topics for you to get good at. Okay, so now a bunch of people are asking about some useful references, right? One thing I would recommend is, like, you can look at our course if that's something that you want to look at. Even if you don't want to purchase the course, you can definitely look at the syllabus of the course. You can look at the curriculum of the course. I think that itself will give you a very good idea what all you need to learn, what all you need to prepare, even if you decide to do it yourself, right? You want to go it through the course, do it through the course, perfect. If you don't want to do it, at least that gives you the path, right? Like, first you need to do this, then you need to do this, then you need to do this, and you go through that. Whatever resources you want to use on YouTube or whatever place, right? Like, you can try and do that. Can somebody excel in their career only by having knowledge of Python? I think, see, programming languages are not important. As long as you are good in one programming language, that's absolutely okay. But just Python in itself might not be good enough. You need to be good in data structures, you need to be good in data science, you need to be understanding of those concepts. See, in the end, programming is not about the language. Programming is about these concepts that you need to be good at. That is very, very important. So that's something that you have to take care of. So now somebody is asking about, if there is a gap due to recession, what do we tell the recruiters? See, in general, what I recommend, whenever you have a gap, you need to use that gap to upskill yourself. You need to get good during that time, right? That's something that you need to get really good at. That's going to be extremely important. Now, and finally, रीजन क्या देना है, जनरली मैं तो यही रेकमेंड करता हूं दैट यू शुड बी ट्रूथफुल. These people are smart, they know you, they will be able to figure out that you're lying, and that's the last thing that you would want to do, right? Just be clear whatever you feel is the reason. But honestly, I think recession is one part, but finally, one thing that you can say is that, hey, I was prepping myself. I didn't think, or I was not able to crack a job because I did not have the right sort of skills. And I made sure that I am getting those skills and I am able to get the right opportunities. Because in one reason, when you say recession tha, job nahi mili, that sounds like an excuse. But on the other hand, if you say, at that time, I did not have the right skill set, so I made sure that I get the right skill set before I start applying for jobs. Now, here, what you're saying is you're taking responsibility of your failures, right? You are taking responsibility of not being able to crack a job. Instead of saying that, हाँ यार अब ठीक है, दुनिया की हालत right थी तो हमारे को job नहीं मिल रही थी, right? Like effectively there you are saying is that it is not my mistake, it was somebody else's mistake, that's why I was not able to get it. So that attitude in itself, I think, is very, very important, how you sort of say things. So please take care of that. How much time should I give myself after the completion of a non-tech degree to land into a data science field? 6 months are too less. Honestly, very, very less. I think a better path will be become a data analyst and then grow into data science field. 6 months for a data analyst, potentially, yes, maybe you can do it. You will have to work hard, but that's still doable. So that's what I would recommend. There is somebody who wants to know coding ninjas का valuation. मुझसे क्या करोगे जान के? पढ़ लो online, मिल जाएगा, है ना? You search online, you'll find it. Compare data science and software developer, which is better? So honestly, I think that's a question that is very dependent on you. Which one would you enjoy more? That's very similar to saying doctor बनना चाहिए कि engineer बनना चाहिए. अब ये अच्छा क्वेश्चन नहीं है ना. For some people, being a doctor is better life choice rather than being an engineer. Similarly, being a computer science versus some other field. Similarly, being a data scientist or being a software developer is very, very dependent upon the person. People do really, really well in both of these areas, right? Some people make a lot of money in both the areas. People who are good make a lot of money in both the areas. So eventually, you should choose which one you think you will enjoy more. Mudassir is saying engineers can't save a life, so you should become a doctor. I don't know if that is true, right? Like, I think as an engineer, you can build a lot of things which may not save a life directly, but indirectly they'll save a lot of lives, right? Like, a lot of people are building businesses in healthcare. A lot of engineers work on problems in healthcare. I believe that at Coding Ninjas, we don't save lives, but we build lives, right? So people are able to get better at earning more money, taking care of their family, right? So overall, we are able to upskill people. They are able to get better jobs. We're all engineers. I strongly believe that we engineers are doing in education and healthcare. We are saving lives. We are building lives. So I don't think that's true. Okay. Can I switch to data science after 5 years of experience in IT and another technology? Absolutely, Pradeep. You can definitely do that. You can absolutely do it. I think your experience in IT will be very, very valuable. It will really help. So that's something that you should definitely consider doing. Like, if that's something that sounds exciting to you, something that you can definitely do. I'm assuming if you have been IT, your understanding of data, your understanding of databases, SQL, all of that will be good, and that will really help you in terms of getting good. Are Google ML or AWS ML certificates helpful in securing a job? Yeah, not really. I mean, see, in the end, your projects would matter a lot more. If you build good projects, that's going to be the best certificate. That's going to be helpful. Indu is asking repeatedly, does this recession affect the opportunities in future? Recession, not in, right? So recession is going to be temporary thing for maybe for a year and a half. So ठीक हो जाएगा, right? So then you will have all the opportunities available. So, but again, one thing that I keep telling all of you is don't give yourself all these excuses. There are still jobs out there. You just need one job. If you're good at it, you will be able to do it. Web dev versus data science for beginners. See, okay. One thing that I tell everyone, if you're not sure which one to do, start with web dev. I think that's something that you should try. So you should start with web dev, and that's something that you should try. And because web dev will basically web dev has maximum number of jobs. If you're good in web dev, it will also help you sort of become better data scientist, because whatever projects you do, whatever projects you build, it will help you in terms of getting you there, like deploying those projects and somebody being able to use it. Okay, seems like there is one student who is not happy with our career camp fresher program. Sorry, Ram Lohar. If that's the scenario, please reach out to me. है ना? पागल नहीं बनाते. I'm sure तुम्हें अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, तुम्हारा experience अच्छा नहीं होगा. Please reach out to me, and I'll make sure that I'm able to help you, or I'm able to fix whatever issue you're facing. right? Please reach out. Absolutely, Abhishek. So Abhishek is asking, should I showcase my projects on GitHub to get the interview calls? You should absolutely do that, right? That's absolutely something that's important. And as I explained earlier, don't just stop at building these projects. Make sure that you deploy these projects. Make sure that you actually like put them on GitHub. You have a Jupyter notebook that you upload along with it. You make sure that you have a report that you build along with it, right? Jupyter notebook itself might work good enough, but you need to take care of things. Okay. Sir, if I am in my last sem BTech and I want to get a job as soon as possible, I'm interested in both field development as well as data science. Which stream do you prefer to get a job as soon as possible? As soon as possible, I think web development will be better than data science. Data science takes a little more time than web development for you to quickly get a job, right? So you'll have to do that. Okay, so let's take a few more questions. So a lot of people are asking about best resource links. As I said earlier as well, the best resource link, go through our course page. If you like the program, enroll for it. If you don't like the program, at least you will get the curriculum. That is one best resource in terms of what are the right things that you need to do step by step. One thing that I will tell all of you, don't just read. Just reading is not going to help. Working on projects is what's going to help. So please do work on a lot of things, a lot of projects before you are able to sort of say that you are good at something. So Neeraj is saying Neeraj is doing our full stack course and is not able to stay consistent, right? Continuously do work. Neeraj, see, खुद को motivated तो रखना पड़ेगा, right? Like you need to keep telling yourself why you are doing this, how this will help you really impact your career, how this will help you get better and better jobs. So please work regularly on it. Make a schedule. Don't give yourself choice. One thing that I do recommend doing is make a schedule. Don't just say that Aaj I am going to do this 2 hours of work. Tell yourself I'm going to do it from 7 to 9, and then do it from 7 to 9. Right? Just as soon as you have that fixed slot, right, you are not able to push things later, right? Like otherwise you'll keep saying, ठीक है 10 मिनट बात करता हूँ, आधे घंटे बात करता हूँ, 1 घंटे बात करता हूँ. I don't think that's the right way to do things. You need to start upfront. Like you need to decide what time and stick to that. That's really going to help you. And I'm telling you, consistency also becomes easier to get once you pass through the initial phase. Once you get a little better at something, little good at something, then you start feeling good about yourself. And as soon as you start feeling good about yourself, you will start getting better and better at it. Indu is saying, does posting our progress on LinkedIn help in fetching better opportunities? Indu, what I generally recommend is don't just post everything, right? Not small things. But if you have done a good project, you have built a good sort of outline around it, then sharing it on LinkedIn absolutely helps, right? Showcasing your projects on LinkedIn absolutely helps. So please do that. I'm currently working as a SQL developer. Sidhu is saying, I'm currently working as a SQL developer with 3 years experience. Should I go with data analyst or data science? I think the first thing you should do is very, very obvious. Quickly move to data analyst job. A data analyst is, I think 50-60% of the work is SQL developer. If you're really good with SQL, data analyst will be very, very straightforward. So quickly get that job and make that switch. And then basically you can slowly and steadily get into data science as well, if that's what you want to do. Guffey is saying, I'm a Django developer. Please suggest me how should I become data analyst? Again, one option is that you go through our program. You look at our data analyst program. If you want to enroll for the program, you can do that. If you don't want to enroll for the program, you can look at the curriculum that will tell you what exactly all of the things that you need to learn to become a data analyst. I think that's something that you should definitely do. Okay. I'm going to ignore all the questions around average salary and all of those things. Deyakar is saying Java plus DSA or data scientist, please reply. I don't think this is an or. DSA is something that you should do first. Once you become good at that, then you decide, I want to become a data scientist, I want to become a data analyst, I want to become a web developer. It becomes choice post getting good in DSA. I think that's the first thing you need to take care of. Please do that. Okay, Sethu is asking a very interesting question. Sethu is asking, can I tell about my bio after from college finally till my first job? I don't even know what this exactly means. Do you want to know my resume? How my resume look like? Is that what the question is? Sethu, can you clarify? Prajwal is saying I'm good in statistics, so which role is good for me, data analyst or data scientist? Both of them are good. Both of them are really good, right? My recommendation, please get good in, work on some data analyst projects. Maybe that's the first job that you want to take care of, right? And then you can move into data science eventually. There was somebody who was asking they're moving to, yes, Jashwant was saying I've applied for masters in DAS and DA, and DS is data science, DA is data analytics, and I have 7 months time before going to the US. Do you suggest me joining any training? And if you, can you please tell me what are all to learn as I have no knowledge? You should definitely learn before you go. The more you learn, it will be easier for you there. As soon as you will go for masters, I think within 3-4 months you will have to start applying for internships, so you will not have a lot of time before you start giving those interviews. So you should get good at these skills that you want to get jobs in, right? And as I've said multiple times, I think you can look at our programs and you can look at the curriculum as well. That they'll tell you exactly what all you need to learn. Okay. Sethu is asking about my experience from last year college to first job of yours, right? So in my case, I think one good part was that I had done 2 or 3 interns during my college, right? One intern was with one professor in my college itself. Second intern was in a foreign university in data science. I had done a project, right? Third interns was in a tech company as a software developer, right? So I had done all these interns. I think that was one major point of my resume. Along with that, I had worked on a couple of projects as well, which I had done a lot of work in. So that was again something that was very, very helpful, which worked really well for me in my resume. Honestly, in the end, I think resume was one thing, but in the end, it was all about how well I performed in the interviews as well. And that was, in my case, I went to Amazon as my first job, and there was the DSA worked really well. In one of the interviews, I had to explain in and out of my project as well, which was again very, very helpful. Right. I hope this was helpful. Anybody has any questions on this, what I just explained, happy to answer that as well. Coding Fever 2.0 is saying, tell us about your journey. That will take a lot of time. I don't know how many of you are interested in that. If you look at our YouTube channel, you will find a lot of interesting videos that we have created around my journey, about Parik sir's journey. So you'll find a lot of interesting videos where we have talked about, where we have discussed about our journey, what we have done, how my experience at Stanford was, how was my experience at Amazon, how was my experience at Facebook, right? Like how did I decide all of these things as well? I think you'll find a lot of content on our YouTube channel, so you can try. Nishit is asking about DSA versus development, how to manage both. Dekho, बहुत simple hai. You need to first start with DSA. You need to get good in that, and once you're good in that, then you need to work on development. When you're doing development, my recommendation, दिन में 1 घंटा, हफ्ते में 2-3 घंटे, 4 घंटे हमें DSA पे, we need to spend DSA time on DSA as well. So we start with DSA, we focus on that, we become good at it. Once we become good at it, then we pick up development and we keep working on DSA in parallel. I think that's what's going to really help you. Rehan is asking for data sets, CSV files of the last 5 days bootcamp sessions. I'm sure somebody from our team will do it. I'll also convey to the team that they need to do it. Pradeep is asking, will AI go away after 10-15 years? I think everybody is asking, will AI make sure that everything else goes away after 10-15 years? I don't think AI is going anywhere. Lax Sethi is saying that he has experience in sales for more than 10 years. Will it be easy for him to move to data science job? Now, Lax, that's going to be a very interesting journey, and it's going to be, I'm telling you honestly, it's going to be a little hard as well, because with your experience, sometimes people will not want to spend a lot of time interviewing you. But again, my recommendation, maybe not data science, start with data analyst, right? Become good at it. I'm sure in sales you would be good in numbers, you will be good in communication. All these are going to be very, very helpful as a data analyst, right? So I think that might be the better sort of way to get into. Gibran is saying, is the future of full stack development declining? I don't think it is declining as of now. ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. All is good. A lot of web developers are needed everywhere, all over the place, right? Each company has requirement for web developer. I think that's the first thing that the companies tend to hire for. So please don't worry about all of this. Please work on your skills and get the right jobs. So somebody's asking, is tuning hyperparameters required for every project I try? That's something that you should definitely try, right? Like hyperparameters are something that you can tweak to get better results on your project. For every project, do you want to get better results? I think yes. So you do need to try tuning hyperparameters, and I think don't just stop at trying tuning. Just after tuning as well, if something works better than something else, you need to have the right answers. That why is it that something is working better than something else? You need to be able to answer these things as well. So asking all those whys is very, very important. Okay, guys, I'll take this last question and let's close it here. I think I've answered most of the questions. So, but if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm very accessible through LinkedIn. Just reach out to me and I'll be happy to answer your question there as well. I'm a student from Pratibha is saying I'm a student from non-tech background pursuing our course in data science. What else do you recommend should I do to get a decent internship in the field? So, see, I think like as I said, build good projects, right? That's going to be one thing that's going to be very helpful. Build presence on GitHub. Do talk about it on LinkedIn as well. Do reach out to people on LinkedIn. I think all of these are things going to help you overall in terms of getting good interns. And yeah, I think like just make sure that you have good GitHub profile, you do the documentation well, and just reach out to people on LinkedIn. I think like and when I said right, like I did an internship in foreign university, I applied to at least 500 people before I got that one. Yes, this is the sort of persistence that will be required. You have to do this sort of persistence to basically get to that final answer. It does not mean that you don't have to the right skills. वो 500 में एक भी लाने के लिए you need to have the right skills. So just build the right skills and then be persistent. Just keep talking, like keep reaching out to people, and you will get the final answer. Pyle is saying, I'm in first year. What should I learn to win hackathon? पहले डीएसए अच्छा करना है, वेब डेवलपमेंट में अच्छा करना है. Once you get good in these, then you can start applying in hackathons, and I think eventually you'll be able to. Oh, you will be able to find my LinkedIn profile. Just search for Ankush Singla. You'll be able to find my LinkedIn profile. Okay, guys, I'll close it here. It was absolutely lovely talking to all of you. These were really, really good, insightful questions. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed talking to all of you. I hope this was useful. And please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, as I said. And yeah, thank you so much. Bye-bye. I hope this was helpful. You're on mute. Mute पे हो.
Okay. Okay, okay, all right. Thank you so much, Ankush sir, for the wonderful and valuable session on the future of data science and machine learning. I hope like everyone would have enjoyed and learned something valuable from you. Like, and yes, thank you so much, sir. Uh,
Thank you.
So, guys, like last thing, like since you have made a significant investment in this 5 days data science bootcamp, now it's time to take the next step and demonstrate your knowledge and skills in this data science domain, right? So that's where the Coding Ninja scholarship test comes in, where like as a bootcamp attendee, you are eligible to take this exclusive test and be in the running for a scholarship of up to 100% of all our comprehensive data science and machine learning courses. So I think guys, this is a fantastic opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of the subject on data science, work on real life world projects and all. So I'll be sharing the scholarship test link. Give me a moment, guys. Once a second. So here is the scholarship test link. You can register. It's also pinned in the chat box also, guys. The scholarship test is going to be held on 9th and 10th of February. So you can register and you can give the scholarship test, and you can apply the scholarship result on any of the data science courses. So thank you so much, guys. Stay in touch. We will conduct this kind of event in the coming future. Thank you.